Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I've been delaying making a video about this for a while because I actually thought that it might be quite controversial. Not only that, but this is a new channel that I brought up for myself and I have very few subscribers on it. However, I decided to be a bit brave today, and today we're going to talk about how normies do privacy. And it's a bit of an issue, because the software that they're using, Discord, Brave browser, Spotify, YouTube, all of that sort of stuff, is a privacy nightmare in itself. And I know what you're thinking. You're watching this video on YouTube right now, you're probably watching it on the app, right? I don't do that. I upload to YouTube anonymously, sign into it on a private window tab with no fingerprinting, and I do it on my browser that I 100% trust, and I don't use the main YouTube client, I use Nvidia's, which I will link you to in the description so that you can actually use YouTube privately. I'll link you to a Nvidia's client which you can use below, which will be an Nvidia's client with no tracking requests, and if you'd like to double check yourself, use DuckDuckGo Privacy Essentials and you can check. Now, onto the main video. I don't actually have any sponsors in this video, so if you like the content, make sure to subscribe, leave a like, comment down below, and hopefully in the future we can get a privacy-friendly sponsor. But for now, we'll just have to keep on looking. So the first issue with, well, how normies approach privacy is that they use all of these applications like Firefox, Brave, maybe even Chrome, and they think that their privacy is good. One of the problems with all of these browsers is that no, they do not care about your privacy. This includes Brave, especially Brave, because they're about to remove one of their best features, which is aggressive fingerprint blocking. So I would recommend that you use LibriWolf, which is a client out of Firefox. Yes, I know Firefox isn't very good, but it is a client out of Firefox that is much better for privacy, has hardened again on its privacy, and if you're going to use a private browser, that is the one you should use, because you can do basic browsing without it being slow, and, well, it's private. When you close it, it'll get rid of your cookies by default. You can still save your passwords, you can aggressively block fingerprinting, which is what it does by default. You can add custom plugins from Firefox, etc, etc. So I recommend using that over Firefox. Now, what some people don't understand is that Firefox sends analytics to Google by default. Why is this an issue? Google is a major monopoly. I think we all know that Google is one of the biggest companies in the world. They've been supporting lots of deadly things at the moment in the Middle East. I'm not going to say names, but you should know what. And it's quite hard to avoid them, but it's best that we do. So, from a moral standard, Firefox isn't a good browser to go off of because of the fact that, yes, Firefox is actually sending data to Google, they're being paid by Google, and you know, where does that money go at the end of the day? What is Mozilla doing with that money? Are they involved in anything political themselves, or are they a strictly non-political organization? Firefox seems to have been very pro-censorship, and I will just say it as it is. They have been censoring people who have been trying to access extensions in the Russian Federation that help circumvent censorship in the Russian Federation, which is obviously a bad thing. So if you don't want to support Firefox, then LibreWolf is a good way to go. Now, thinking about Discord. Discord isn't end-to-end encrypted. It isn't a private system at all. Now, I'm going to recommend a system that instead of thinking, trust me bro, because it's closed source, you can know that they aren't looking at your messages because of how it's open source. Now, something I'm recommending to you is Revolt Chat. Revolt Chat is a very privacy-focused Discord alternative. It is open source, so you can check all of it. It doesn't have to just be a trust me bro. You can check everything that it does, and all of it is on GitHub. Yes, I know it is unfortunately made by Microsoft, but it is on GitHub, so you can see all of the source code yourself, and you can make your own decision on whether you want to use it. If you don't like that, I would recommend that you use the Matrix protocol, which is even more private and has end-to-end encrypted private messages. The reason why Discord is a privacy nightmare is because, okay, let's say that you are having a private conversation. You want to keep that conversation private. Discord staff members can look for it whenever they want. You don't have to break the TOS. You don't have to be reported. If they don't like you, they'll look through your messages. Now, this is sort of also a problem with Revolt, which is why, on top of that, I recommend you use Signal or Matrix. But Discord is even worse, because they actually collect a lot of data about the games you play, what you're doing in those games. They know what websites you're visiting from when you click them, etc, etc. And you can send them a lot of diagnostics, which you should definitely turn that off if you're using Discord, which I don't recommend. However, if you have to use Discord, turn the telemetry off. You can do that in settings. I don't even have to tell you how to do that. I'll put up a video on how to do it, like right here, and you should know. It's very simple. There are also plugins that you can use to disable Discord telemetry. However, when you go into a voice call, even that isn't end-to-end encrypted. And Discord has been into a little controversy recently, because they have addressed the fact that although generally they do not record Discord voice calls, there are some cases that they do record them. Now, this in itself is iffy, so if you want to have truly private voice calls, you need to use Signal or Matrix. I'm not even going to recommend Revolt for voice calls, because their voice call system is actually shit. It's just bad. But if you want to have private voice calls, then please, 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 please use Matrix or use Signal. On to Brave Browser. Brave Browser is just such a shithole. I mean, they're taking away the privacy option, as I said earlier, to block tracking, fingerprinting. So that in itself is bad. But also by default, they don't even have that on. So you have to go enable that in settings, which is kind of a pain in the ass. Same with Firefox, which is what I prefer. You know, hardened clients like LibreWolf. But since Brave is about to take away the option to actually do that, it's gonna become even worse. Yeah. And they collect telemetry by default. I don't know where it gets sent. Thankfully, it doesn't get sent to Google, I don't think. But they're not very good. And yeah, their search engine is interesting. They use Brave Search, which I will say is better than Google. However, it's a bit iffy. I don't trust them 100% because they are a crypto company, which, how can you trust a cryptocurrency company? You really can't. However, yeah, it's just, don't trust Brave for the life of you. I installed it on Gensu once because I thought it would be interesting, and it didn't use a lot of RAM, which was good, but their telemetry, which is on by default, is a big no-no for me. So yeah. And now we're going to move on to one of the final ones, which people think are decent for privacy somehow. Spotify. Spotify is bad. When you're listening to a song, they can hear everything. When they can see all of the songs you listen to, okay? They track you across your entire device. It's not just Spotify. It's not just your songs that aren't private. They will track you across your entire device. They're a closed source application, which means they can't be trusted. And as a wise man, Mental Outlaw, once said, if it's closed source, it's probably spyware. So don't use Spotify, don't use Discord, don't use Brave. Well, Brave is open source, but still don't use it. Don't use Firefox, and please, for the love of God, don't use Google services. I'm actually begging you to, if you use Google services, use them with an alias, use them with a fake email address that isn't tied to anything, and use it anonymously in a tab that has no fingerprinting. Just comment on the video, leave. That's all you do. And after that, use videos. That's all you need to do with Google. Is just avoid them whenever physically possible. If you need to comment on something, do it, then leave. Clear your cookies or use a private browsing window. Private browsing doesn't make you anonymous, but it helps a little bit because it does clear your cookies. Always use VPN. Proton VPN recommended. Use open source applications 24/7. If you can use open source applications, then you should. I recommend using Krita over Photoshop. OBS is a good recorder. I recommend using Nvidius over YouTube. I recommend using Vault Chat or Matrix, Discord, etc. Now, I'm gonna link some stuff in the description, which will link to some articles, but there is proof to what I'm saying, and Brave, Discord, Spotify, etc. are privacy nightmares. So please avoid them whenever physically possible. And for God's sake, just use Linux. I've had to say this to so many people. Windows isn't private. It's the least private operating system you can use. In fact, I would recommend Mac OS over Windows. Yeah, I know, still a normie operating system, still spies on you, but it spies on you less if you change the configurations. But how can we trust that when it's closed source software, right? We can't. Which is why you need to use Linux, because Linux is open source. And I'm using Linux right now to record this video. I'm using Linux. I'm probably going to use Kdenlive to edit this video. I'll leave a little text saying if I did or not. And I use everything possible that I can open source, including my browser, my chatting applications, and instead of Twitter, I use Mastodon, I use Proton for email services, etc, etc. That's what I recommend you do. It's just basic privacy, and at the end of the day, you can do it, so can I, we can all do it. So, I know this has been an unscripted rant, and I apologise for that, but I really just wanted to get my thoughts out here. And I think that it's important that we as a community, as people that want privacy actually decide to grab it by the neck and just bring it in. We need to give it a big hug or something and just embrace the actual privacy that the internet can provide. So yeah, if you like this video, even though it's probably going to be pretty shit, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I'm not going to recommend you stay on YouTube, mate, because it is shit. So it'd be great if we get an increase in subscribers, though. I'm sorry for not making a video in a while. This is Alta Central, privacy enthusiast forever. And for now, it's me out. See you later, guys.